What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. I hope everybody is having a great day. And as for me, it is still freezing outside and I have not been able to take the boat out and crank on some big fish. So I am going to talk about today my number one tackle box. Like if I had just one tackle box to put all my lures in, what lures I would pick to go to any situation in any place in the country to fish in a pond, lake, river, creek, or anything. Just one box for one thing of lures, and that is it. So stick with me and stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy. So these are the lures that I will take in one tackle box, just a few little lures that I put together that I would take anywhere in the country, any pond, lake, creek, reservoir, any type of body of water that you're fishing for, mainly a lot of different species. All your bass species, most of your, you can catch pike on these and stuff like that also, but a lot of your predatorial type fish, these are the lures that I would take. So the first one is, of course, my favorite lure, a swim jig. This is just a little 3/8 ounce V&M tackle swim jig, and it is an excellent swim jig. It has a good weed guard and a very stout, good hook, so you don't bend the hook out when you are reeling in the fish or fishing around a lot of structure, docks, or stuff like that. And I'm gonna pair this swim jig right here with two different types of trailers, which is one being a Zoom speed crawl or a 4-inch Kitech little swim bait. They're both excellent trailers for excellent situations, and one is just used to imitate shad. If you put this on the back of the swim jig is mostly just to imitate shad. And if you're doing the swim jig, then I'm usually fishing, if you're gonna throw the swim jig with a speed crawl, I'm normally just gonna throw this around docks and stuff like that. I will throw the swim bait trailer out in open water and stuff, but both of them can imitate shad and stuff like that. The second lure I'm gonna use, it is also a jig, but it is just a little skipping jig. This right here is the Googan Squad jig. It is a 3-ounce little skipping pitching jig, and this is great for fishing around cover and skipping under docks and stuff like that. It also has a excellent weed guard. It has like a wire type weed guard, which is some of the best, and it has a hand tied skirt, which I love, and the hook is also very, very good on that. And I'm going to pair this with pretty much just one type of bait, and that is, I'm going to pair it with the Googan Squad Bandito bug. This is just full size. This is this is the green pumpkin watermelon with red flake. This is my favorite trailer, favorite color, and you can just about catch fish on it any time of the year and any situation that you have. And the green pumpkin is by far my favorite color. I've caught the most fish on green pumpkin. It can imitate bluegill, crawfish, pretty much any type of forage that mostly bass are gonna feed on. The third lure that I love to throw in any situation, I fell in love with this lure this past year because I started using it a lot, and it has just caught me many, many big fish, and I love watching the fish eat this lure and everything, and that is just a frog. This right here is just a Spro popping frog. It has the little popping body on it, so it just pops and squirts out a lot of water and makes a lot of commotion in the water. I throw this in any situation where I have mats, pads, any type of forage in the water and stuff like that, and bass just come up and blow up on it, and it is so much fun to use. I normally trim the feet off, or the little silicone trailer things. I'd normally trim those and make those about 1 inch or so, and I also take some pliers and bend these hooks up right there. I bend them up just a little bit so that when you're rolling your finger across, it gets hung on those hooks. Because when you get them out of the package, these hooks are real far in the frog, and you will lose more fish if you don't bend these up, because the frog, it's harder for the fish to compress this frog and get those hooks into it. The next technique that I'm going to use pretty much anywhere is using these 3 lures on a Texas rig. A Texas rig is fantastic, and it can make you and let you catch big fish. You can catch just numbers of fish and everything. And I'm going to use 3 different types of baits with my Texas rig. The main one that I'm going to use for fishing around grass and stuff like that is this right here. This is just a June bug speed crawl. It's the regular size. It's not the Magnum speed crawl, or it's not the junior little small one. It is just a regular speed crawl size, and this is an excellent bait for punching and stuff like that. The other type of speed crawl that I'm going to use is just a regular watermelon red speed crawl. I'm going to pitch this around trees and around brush and stuff like that, any type of brush, and I will even throw this on rocks and just slowly drag it around for smallmouth and stuff like that. The third bait that I'm going to use for a Texas rig, and my most favorite bait that I use around my home lakes, is this right here. It is a big ol' 10-inch worm. This worm is fantastic. It is also a zoom worm, and most of these baits are zooms, so they're super budget and cheap, and won't just destroy the bank when you have to go buy 3 or 4 packs of these baits to go through a whole day. But this right here is a zoom Magnum worm, and it is excellent. This is the color Houdini, and I love this worm for catching any type of fish. I've caught big smallmouth on this, also with largemouth. Normally I'm just going to use a regular little 1/2 ounce tungsten weight with a bobber stop, and and I'm also going to pair that with just a little 3 to 5/0 flipping hook. And with the worms, sometimes I will go to just a 5/0 or 6/0 EWG offset hook. But the flipping hook is by far my favorite, and it won't bend out or anything, and you won't have any problem getting the fish out of the toughest of structure and cover. My last technique that I love to use is a drop shot. These 2 right here, this is just a 1/8 ounce little bullet weight type thing, and this hook that I'm using is just a little 1/0 Berkeley drop shot hook. The drop shot is an excellent way just to catch fish and figure out if there's even any fish in the ponds, lakes, and places that you're fishing, because pretty much anything will eat it, and it doesn't matter what size, and you can catch anywhere. I've caught 4 and 5 pound fish on a drop shot, as well as 6 and 8 inch fish, and it is just a great lure to figure out if there's fish where you're fishing at, or what type of fish you're fishing for. And it's excellent for smallmouth. The drop shot is one of the best lures that I've ever used for smallmouth. There's 2 baits that I'm going to pair the drop shot up with, and the first one is just a little zoom trick worm. This is the big one. This is the 6-inch, I think. It's either 6 or 8 inch, and that one is just the little green pumpkin trick worm, and this one's going to catch your bigger fish, and it'll catch small fish, but it is normally for your targeting your big fish. And then the next one I'm going to use, and this one is for catching big smallmouth and stuff like that, is just a little tiny, I think this is the 6-inch, and the other one is the 8-inch. This is the little 6-inch zoom trick worm, and this is in the June bug color, and those 2 colors will cover anything that you're trying to catch in any situation. And the drop shot is just an excellent lure to catch multiple fish. It is probably my favorite pond hopping lure, because it just gets bites quick, and you can really figure out if there's any fish around you. So those are the lures that I love to use during any situation, during any time of the year. You can use all of these lures year round. It doesn't matter how cold it is, how hot it is. You can normally get bites on any of these lures any time of the year, and they are not super expensive lures. Like all this stuff in the tackle box, you can get you can get a tackle box, all these lures to catch fish anywhere, any time of the year, for about $30. And the frog being the most expensive one, which is about $10. And they have a lot cheaper frogs out on the market that work excellent. I know that some of the frogs that I bought are $3 and $4, and they catch just as much as the Spro popping frogs. But I just, in my opinion, love the Spro frogs, and I think they make excellent frogs. But most of these baits are by Zoom Bait Company, so it's like $4.99 a pack or so for like 10 or 20 baits. It depends on what type of bait you get. Anywhere from the pack ranges from 10 to 20. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and feel free to leave any comments. As usual, always chase your dreams.